2022 updated video of wheel cleaning brushes. Now, I did a video like this a couple of years ago, and of course, a lot of different brushes have come onto the market, and I've also modified a lot of brushes that were on the market. So I'm going to kind of give you just a quick overview of all the brushes that I have here, and then we're going to go outside. I'm going to show you a couple of demonstration clips as to why I feel the ones that are on the table are the ones that you're going to want, specifically if you're a mobile detailer or if you have a lot of cars in your household. You're going to definitely need a lot of different wheel cleaning brushes. There's not going to be one size fits all because every wheel is going to be completely different. Now, there's two brushes on the table that are here, but we don't use them anymore, and I'm specifically going to go into that as well. Now, these brushes are really great because of the stem, and you could kind of get into the barrel in between the brake calipers and the inner barrel. I actually modify these with weighted handles to make them better to use, because what happens is they come like this. They just don't have a lot of leverage and weight for you to kind of go in there and do what they do. The only disadvantage to the smaller, narrower wheel woolies are the nap is very short. So if you have a black rim barrel, whether it's matte black, gloss black, or satin black, a lot of times when you're kind of going in there, these fibers are not capable of really capturing a lot of that heavy caked on brake dust. So you do have limitations with these brushes, but they definitely are worth having, and I definitely recommend to get creative and modify them like I have, or you can kind of go to our website and we custom make them to order. So when you're going into the wheel barrel, you're going to see when we do the demonstration, we want to have a tight fit between the inner barrel and the brake rotor, or in that particular area. So when you go in there, these fibers, as soft as they are, they're going to be able to put pressure and get the wheel barrel clean. And that's really what the limitations of these are, because when you go into the barrel, you're kind of going like this or like this, and you're not really getting equal pressure all along this area here, so it's not as effective. Now, this is one of my favorites. This is a custom Fanatic wheel woolly brush where you kind of have a steel stem, okay, with a gripped handle, and then you kind of twist it, and you could go extra long. So if you're working on an SUV that's heavily soiled, and you just don't want to get yourself messed up or getting it on your sneakers or clothes, you can kind of extend it full length, and it's so strong that you could kind of clean all the way into the barrel and the spokes of the wheels very safely and easily without really bending down and going too crazy. So that's a really cool one as well. Now, over here, so these are long stem brushes. Now, these come various different ways. Most of the brushes that you're going to see online, no matter what vendor, they're going to have a nylon bristle where they kind of, I don't know, they have a technique where they kind of soften up the tips, similar to like this one here. The only problem is they're very rigid and they're a little rough. When you can feel it on your hands, it actually feels like 220, 180 sandpaper. So you got to think about that. If you have a gloss black wheel, I don't care if you have a ceramic coating or not, you're going to go onto that wheel with this kind of a brush, you're going to scratch the crap out of it. So the ones in the table are specific. These are natural boar's hair brushes. These are a little bit difficult to find. A lot of vendors don't sell these. They always sell the nylon ones, but this is the one you're going to want to get. And I'm going to put links to all this stuff. If you guys, a lot of the stuff I got on Amazon, so if the stuff is still available, it's going to be linked in the video description below for you guys to go out there and purchase it. And these aren't sold from a lot of different vendors. So this is a natural boar's hair brush, and the density of this is a little firmer than this one here. Okay, this is also a natural hair brush. So this is totally safe. It's not going to scratch. It doesn't give you that sandpaper feel that this brush is going to use. So I only have this on a table specifically to show you. I don't recommend using it. Now, we have another brush here. I don't know if this is Microfiber Madness or whoever makes this one. Oh, no, this is a Guion brush. This is okay, but the limitations are the foam is very fat and thick, similar to a wheel woolly, but the wheel woolly is a little bit more effective than this particular brush. This is good depending on, like if you have a Honda or a Toyota, or like a car with like a 5-spoke wheel, and you just want to do something really quick. This is a lightweight brush. It's got pretty good flexibility, but it's rigid enough that you can kind of go in there and do what you got to do. This is, I believe they call this the Speedmaster brush. The reason I have it on the table is just to show you, and I may do a demonstration outside. I just hate this brush. It's very effective, and these things have been around forever as far as going in between the calipers and the wheels. But as you pull it out, these bristles are so firm that it sprays all the brake dust and all the junk all over your arm, all over your shirt. It just, these things, I don't know, no matter what you do when you're kind of going in there to clean your wheels, even if you're going in there carefully, you're going to make a mess. I just absolutely hate this brush, so I don't use it. This brush here is one of my new favorites. Believe it or not, this is made by a company called OXO. This is a bottle cleaning brush for the kitchen. And I got this at the Container Store, and it's super soft. and I'm going to show you in the demonstration. This brush is outstanding, not only to clean in between the barrels and the brake calipers, but also the brake calipers themselves, and you can kind of go all the way into the wheel barrel very, very easily. It's got a nice rigid stem, a little bit of flexibility up here, but it's nice and rigid back here, and it's got an injected molded grip, so it's super easy to use. This is one of my favorite brushes as well. This is the new version 2.0 of the Woolly Wormith. This is the first version that came out a couple years ago, and I modified it with the weighted handle. I just felt that it just made a lot more sense. But the new version appears to be a little bit longer. You can see that there on the table. They integrated a handle, and it's really cool is that they give you a lug pocket cleaning tool. So these things pop on right off. I'll just show you real quick. So they come in two different sizes. You have large and small, and I'm going to show you exactly how this works. And the reason I like this is that you got to wear gloves definitely when you're using this. So you can kind of go in there, clean the wheel barrel. You could kind of clean the spokes, but it's not as effective on the spokes as like something like one of these guys here, or even this brush here. But the cool thing is that you could bend it just like that and go behind the spokes and kind of do some really cool stuff with it. And it's also tapered, so it starts out thin and it gets thicker along the leading edge. So, this is a very, very cool brush for 29 bucks. I think this is probably going to be a very useful brush. But to be honest with you, I do prefer to do the lugs with a separate unit that I have here, rather lug pockets. So over here we got some work stuff brushes. Now, these brushes are great. These are probably better to do interior cleaning like dash vents, dashes, also around the emblems of the cars. This is probably better for that, but you can use these to clean wheels, and I have in the past. So they're all in the same category. Now, this particular brush is awesome. This is made by a company called partsbrush.com. Okay, so if you have a parts cleaning station in a workshop, fabrication facility where you're doing like mineral spirits or like a chemical cleanser, they sell brushes like this that go with your parts cleaning station. So this is a similar version of that, except it's very, very rigid nylon bristles, and it's very, very soft. And you can look at it here, it's kind of domed and tapered. This brush is great if you have a BBS style wheel, certain types of lug pockets that are very difficult for any of these other brushes to get into. This brush is outstanding. This is like indestructible. You'll have this thing for life. Also great to clean parts, anything around the car, engine bays, brake calipers if you're doing a wheels off suspension detail. This brush is probably the one you're going to want because it's so rigid and it just does a fantastic job. Much better than these if you're going to go really, really fine detail work. Got another brush here. I'm not sure who this is from, but this is really nice. You can just see right here how soft it is. This is really good for like interior detailing, but if you have a delicate finish, exotic cars, carbon fiber barrel rims, anything like that, anything crazy, you really want to have a fine brush to clean your wheels, this is going to be something that you're going to probably want to kiss the spokes and a lot of the cosmetic portions of the wheels very carefully with something like this. Very, very soft and easy to use, and you can get these in a long stem or short stem. I prefer the short just because it just gives you a little bit more pressure and a little bit more leverage as you're doing your wheel cleaning. Just over here we have a couple of natural boar's hair brushes. These are just generic, but the situation is when you're cleaning the spokes of the wheels, you see that when it's too soft and the bristles are too long, you don't do a very good job cleaning. You're actually pushing a lot of the dirt around, and when you go rinse off the gloss black wheel or satin black wheel, you're going to kind of see that you missed a whole bunch of spots. So these brushes do have limitations, but they're definitely worth having in your detailing arsenal. You have cheap ones here, and then you have the expensive ones here, and this is a pretty cool tool. Similar to what the Woolly Wormith offers you with these little attachments, if you look in there. So it's just like a sponge, and it has a hole. This is to clean around the lug nuts. Now, this particular one I use on the Shelby GT350, specifically because it's larger, and those cars have a larger 14mm lug bolt to go around. So you kind of just pop it in, twist it, and it just cleans all around the lug pockets perfectly every single time. So you don't have to go in there and start chasing it with a bristle brush. So these things are actually great, and I highly recommend it whether you pick up a Woolly Wormith or an apparatus like this. And you can pick this stuff up, most of the stuff up on Amazon except the work stuff brushes, and I'm not sure if these two are sold on Amazon at all. But we're gonna go outside. I'm gonna show you a demonstration on our Alfa Romeo Stelvio. We're gonna show a couple of different brushes. And like I said, this is just gonna be an updated video for anybody that watches the Auto Fanatic channel and is deliberating on, hey, what's the best wheel cleaning brushes to have? Because a lot of the ones in the market are junk. They're just poorly designed. They have very stiff, aggressive bristles, and I just don't like it. So usually when I pick out brushes, I always think, what would I want to use on my car? What would I want to use on a high gloss black finish? And everything here is completely safe, tested. I've been using this stuff for years. So Let's get outside right now, I'll show you some demonstration clips. All right guys, a little tip that a customer showed me is taking the Milwaukee M12 portable air compressor and charging up your solo foamer. So you're just gonna go onto the gauge, and over here we're just gonna go up to 45 PSI. That's kind of like where the pressure relief valve will release. And then just hit your button. And then it bleeds out. So now we're at 45 PSI charge. So we're gonna do a demonstration for you right now. So we're just gonna foam up the wheel with the solo foamer, just like this. Now, we have a bucket here. This is a natural boar's hair brush. So the tendency for you is gonna be kind of like going like this, you know, and whatever you're hearing, that's gonna be totally safe. But of course, you're not gonna be able to get into the lug pockets. So this brush, for this type of a wheel, is very effective. That's all I wanted to show you guys, and it's totally safe. It's not gonna scratch the wheel. That little clunking, you could put possibly some rubber on there if you really wanted to, but it's safe, it's not metal, and you're not gonna harm anything, okay? So you kind of manipulate the brush just like this to kind of get the underside of the spokes. And it is a little bit of annoying with the noise. You know, everybody's gonna say in the video, oh, you're scratching the wheel. No, that's just the way it is. If you see, when you go to automatic car wash, they take these brushes and they smash them all over the wheels, usually with acid wheel cleaners. So now here we have the fatter wheel woolly brush, just to show you guys. Okay, you hear that? That means the wheel woolly is pressing up against the rotor and the rotor shield. So it's making good contact with the wheel barrel. And on this particular wheel, it's very effective. Now, on the other wheel that I'm going to show you on my car, it's not very effective because you can't get it in between the caliper and the inner barrel, okay? So we'll show you that in a couple of minutes. So this is very effective for that as well. You also could dunk it in here and go like this. This is kind of how I manipulate it. By having the weighted handle, it makes the job a hell of a lot easier. But if you notice, we're still not able to clean inside the lug pockets. And that's where those lug pocket brushes really come into handy. So we're gonna put that to the side. Now, we're going to grab the woolly wormit. We're gonna hit it with some more foam. Just like this. Now, like I showed you in the intro of the video, you could take this brush and you could bend it, and you could kind of go here and clean behind the spokes, which I think is pretty cool. I mean, I still recommend at least a few times a year to take the wheels off. If you want to do some really good wheel cleaning, is just always do it off the car. Now, like I mentioned too, you know, I'm not wearing gloves right now. To do the face, it's somewhat effective, but it feels very awkward to have this style brush to try to clean the face of the wheel. The wheel woolly, this size, just does a much better job, okay? Or this brush here just does a much better job. Now, the cool thing is, this little thing at the end, just hit it with some foam, and you kind of go in there like this, and it's super easy to clear out your lug hole pockets. Now, the only disadvantage, I'm not wearing gloves, is that when you rotate and hold that other end just to use this, you're getting yourself completely soaking wet, and I don't really love that. That's one of the disadvantages, but I do agree that they try to incorporate multiple tools into one, so you have to give them credit for that. If you wanted to, you could probably just take this off and glue it onto a plastic stem or some other piece and make a separate tool just for this, if you don't want to use it the way I'm just showing you right here. So we're done with that. Now, like I showed you on the workbench, this is my new favorite brush. So we're just gonna hit it with some foam, and you can just see how effective it is just to go in there and clean the caliper. And I could go all the way in the back, and the bristles are soft yet strong enough in their density to do an absolutely fantastic job. So we're just gonna rinse this off right now, and we're not using a pressure washer today. So this wheel is perfectly clean inside out and the caliper. All right guys, we're over at my other car. So the reason I wanna show you a demonstration on this is specifically because there's such limited caliper clearance between the inner barrel and here. So a lot of brushes I'm gonna show you are not gonna be able to get in there. So we're just gonna foam the wheel up again, get inside the barrel. I absolutely love these foamers, and we're actually doing them now with the air valves. You can order them on our site. Okay, so this is the larger wheel woolly, which worked really well on the larger wheels for the Stelvio. So if you go back here, it gets stuck right here. So it's very limited to what you could do. Now, right here, look, I can't get in this area. So what's gonna happen is, unless you move the car and rotate it multiple ways to kind of clean in between the barrel, it's gonna totally waste your time. You're not gonna be able to get half of this rim cleaned inside the barrel because this brush is just not gonna work. Now, the woolly wormit definitely could kind of get in there, but the problem is it's not a good enough fit. It's very loose because it's a tapered, very thin tapered design. So it's not putting a lot of pressure down on the inner barrel to really do a good job cleaning. Now, we use a smaller wheel woolly brush. You can kind of get in there, but the limitations are this. We're just gonna give some more soap on there. So you tend to go, and you see it on the channel, I kind of go like this. The only problem is the bristles are so tight and so short napped that you're really just doing some cleaning, but you're actually moving a lot of dirt around. You're not getting the dirt to adhere to the brush or kind of fall off. So that's the only disadvantage of using this. Now, my favorite brush that I actually discovered if I go into the Container Store is this brush here from OXO. This is a bottle cleaning brush. So I could kind of go in there and it's got a perfect fit in between the caliper and the inner barrel. I could kind of go in there. I could do the Brembo brake caliper easily. Okay, so now that's perfectly clean. I have no issues now getting any of this done. And being that this brush has bristles, it's far more effective than the smaller wheel woolly as far as cleaning the inner wheel barrel. Now, we're gonna soak it back into the container. I'm gonna foam it up some more. Just foam the wheel up some more. We don't want to do this dry. I'm gonna have to recharge this in about a minute. Okay, so now you can still take that same brush and clean the spokes. Okay, just like that. Very easily and effectively. So this is definitely one of my favorite brushes, and I'm gonna put a link to this in the description if I find this particular brush with the same partner on Amazon so you guys can pick it up. It just works absolutely awesome. Really pleasure to hold it in your hand with the rubber grip, and you can kind of see it there. Super, super effective and easy. Now, big spot that we missed is right in here. We're gonna show you that in a minute. All right, guys, so now regarding the lug pocket area, this one's a little bit too large. I kind of want to show you. So on every wheel, it's going to be different. You see how I can't really get in there to kind of get in between the lug pockets. These wheels are very, very small. So with the woolly wormit, this one has a much smaller diameter. Watch this. This is why I love this thing. You kind of go in there, boom, just like that. You could twist it a little bit, but it fits perfectly into the lug pocket recess. Absolutely perfect. So that works great. Now, before we finish this demonstration, I'm going to show you this brush, the brush I absolutely hate. So we're going to just foam it up some more. Okay, so now, like I told you, you're going to go in here and look, as you're pulling, look, I'm getting it all over my sneakers already. Just by going in here. You see how it's spraying? Let me get the camera. Look, just by going back and forth, it's spraying it all over my sneakers and my jeans. This is why I cannot stand this style brush. And I'm not even going aggressively, I'm going nice and slow. You can kind of see how it's spraying all over me, driving me nuts. See that? It's all over my arm, sneakers, and jeans. So I don't really love these brushes. I absolutely hate them. All right, guys, so that's just a demonstration of my favorite wheel cleaning brushes and the ones that I feel are going to be the most effective depending on what type of wheels you have and what type of vehicle you have. Now, when you're dealing with 18, 19, 17-inch wheels, you're going to need to be creative. Like I said, this brush here from OXO, absolutely incredible. I'm going to put links in the description of this video. I just kept them in there for a thumbnail. We just shot a couple of thumbnails, but like I said, they're safe, they're effective, but you have to have multiple tools for the particular job based on the wheel design and on your vehicle and on the caliper clearance. So hope you guys enjoyed this updated video. Please subscribe to the Auto Fanatic channel and stay tuned for more content, and I'll see you guys in an upcoming video soon.